The world of the dinosaurs was a truly remarkable place. It was filled with giants that shook the ground and creatures of every imaginable shape and size. Among them was a very special family of hunters. We called them the Dromaeosauridae. The name means running lizards, and it hints at their active, energetic lives. These were not the slow, lumbering reptiles of old illustrations. They were dynamic, intelligent, and astonishingly successful. In popular culture, they are known by a more famous name, raptors. They belong to a larger group of dinosaurs called theropods, which includes other famous meat-eaters like the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex. But dromaeosaurids were a unique branch on this family tree, a group that would change our understanding of dinosaurs forever. What made these creatures so special? It was a combination of incredible features that set them apart from their relatives. They were bipedal, meaning they walked on two legs, which freed up their arms for other purposes. Their bodies were built for speed and agility, allowing them to navigate complex environments with ease. Unlike many other dinosaurs, they had unusually large brains for their body size, suggesting a higher level of intelligence. This intelligence, combined with their sharp senses and deadly weapons, made them some of the most formidable predators of their time. They were not just simple killing machines. They were sophisticated animals that thrived for millions of years across the globe, a testament to their brilliant evolutionary design. To understand where dromaeosaurids fit, we must look at the grand tapestry of dinosaur evolution. They are part of a clade called Maniraptora, or hand snatchers. This group is fascinating because it includes the dinosaurs most closely related to modern birds. In fact, dromaeosaurids are considered the sister group to Aviali, the group that contains all modern birds and their closest fossil relatives. This means that when we look at a dromaeosaur, we are looking at something very close to a bird's ancestor. Their skeletons share many similarities with those of early birds like Archaeopteryx. This close relationship has provided scientists with a treasure trove of information about how birds evolved from dinosaurs, one of the most amazing stories in the history of life on Earth. So, when we speak of dromaeosaurids, we are not just talking about a single type of dinosaur. We are describing a whole family of wonderfully diverse and highly evolved animals. They were a pinnacle of theropod evolution, showcasing a blend of reptilian and bird-like traits that we are still working to fully understand. From their specialized claws to their feathered bodies, every part of a dromaeosaur tells a story of adaptation and survival. They were nature's perfect hunters, a group that continues to capture our imagination and drive scientific discovery. They remind us that the age of dinosaurs was far more complex and fascinating than we ever thought possible, full of creatures that were truly extraordinary. The story of the dromaeosaurids is a global one. These adaptable hunters did not stay in one place. Their fossils have been discovered on nearly every continent, from the vast plains of North America to the rich fossil beds of China and the rugged landscapes of South America. They even lived in what is now Australia and Antarctica, which were much warmer during the Mesozoic era. This worldwide distribution tells us that they were incredibly successful. They were able to thrive in a wide variety of ecosystems, from lush tropical forests to more arid open plains. Their ability to spread across the globe is a powerful testament to their evolutionary strengths and their capacity to adapt to new and challenging environments. Their reign on Earth was also impressively long. The first dromaeosaurids appeared during the Middle Jurassic period, around 167 million years ago. For over 100 million years, they were a constant and important presence in ecosystems all over the planet. They lived through the entire Cretaceous period, witnessing dramatic changes in climate, geography, and the other forms of life around them. They walked alongside some of the most famous dinosaurs, from the giant sauropods to the horned ceratopsians. They were not a brief experiment of evolution. They were a lasting dynasty, a lineage of predators that persisted right up until the very end of the age of dinosaurs. The world they inhabited was very different from our own. Continents were in different positions, and the climate was generally warmer and more humid. During the Cretaceous period, vast inland seas covered parts of North America and Europe, creating unique coastal habitats. In Asia, extensive forests and lake systems provided the perfect hunting grounds for many dromaeosaur species. The discovery of so many different types of raptors in these varied locations shows how they diversified to fill different predatory roles. Some may have hunted in the dense undergrowth of forests, while others may have chased down prey in more open spaces. Their global presence paints a picture of a vibrant and dynamic world teeming with life. The final chapter for the dromaeosaurids came at the end of the Cretaceous period, about 66 million years ago. They were among the countless species that vanished in the mass extinction event that wiped out all non-avian dinosaurs. Until that catastrophic moment, they were thriving. Fossils from the latest part of the Cretaceous, such as those of Dakota raptor in North America, show that large and powerful raptors were still very much a part of the ecosystem. Their long and successful history makes their sudden disappearance all the more dramatic. For over 100 million years, they were a key part of the Earth's story, and their fossils give us a precious window into this lost world. The anatomy of a dromaeosaurid was a marvel of evolutionary engineering, perfectly suited for a life of active predation. Perhaps their most famous feature is the incredible sickle-shaped claw on the second toe of each foot. This claw, which could be impressively large in some species, was held raised off the ground while walking, keeping it sharp and ready. Unlike a cat's claw, it was not used for slashing. Instead, scientists now believe it was used as a tool for gripping and pinning down struggling prey. By hooking this claw into its victim, the raptor could maintain control, using its body weight to hold the animal down while it delivered bites with its sharp teeth. It was a precise and deadly instrument, but the sickle claw was just one part of their impressive toolkit. Dromaeosaurids also had long, powerful arms with 3-fingered hands, each tipped with sharp, curved claws. These were not the tiny, almost useless arms of a Tyrannosaurus rex. The raptor's arms were strong and flexible, likely used for grasping prey, climbing, and perhaps even for balance. Furthermore, we now have undeniable evidence that their bodies were covered in feathers. Exquisite fossils from China show a full range of feathers, from simple hair-like filaments to complex, veined feathers on their arms and tails, forming wings. These feathers were likely used for insulation, display, and possibly even assisted in locomotion, helping them to maneuver at high speeds. Another key feature was their long, stiff tail. Unlike the flexible tails of many other dinosaurs, the dromaeosaurid tail was reinforced by a network of long, bony rods. This made the tail very rigid, acting like a dynamic stabilizer or a rudder. When the dinosaur was running at high speed and needed to make a sharp turn, it could use its tail as a counterbalance, allowing for incredible agility. This would have been essential for chasing down fast-moving prey or for navigating cluttered environments like forests. The base of the tail, near the hips, remained flexible, allowing the entire structure to be moved up and down or side to side, giving the animal precise control over its balance. Finally, we must consider what was inside the skull. Dromaeosaurids had relatively large brains compared to their body size, with particularly well-developed areas for sight and coordination. Their large eye sockets suggest they had excellent vision, a crucial sense for any hunter. Their teeth were sharp, flattened, and serrated like tiny steak knives, perfectly designed for slicing through flesh. When you combine this intelligence, keen eyesight, sharp teeth, grasping hands, stabilizing tail, and the iconic sickle claw, you get a picture of a truly complete and sophisticated predator. Every part of its body was finely tuned for the hunt, making the dromaeosaurid one of nature's most impressive creations. When we think of raptors, the image from popular films often comes to mind, a creature about the size of a human. While some dromaeosaurids were indeed this size, the family as a whole showed a remarkable range of body sizes. Evolution shaped them to fill many different ecological niches, resulting in a spectrum from tiny hunters to truly giant predators. At the smaller end of this scale, we find creatures like Microraptor. This fascinating dinosaur, which lived in the forests of ancient China, was no bigger than a modern-day crow. It was a delicate animal, weighing only about 1 kilogram, or just over 2 pounds. Microraptor is famous not just for its small size, but for its unique arrangement of feathers. It had long, wing-like feathers on both its arms and its legs, creating a four-winged appearance that is unique among dinosaurs. This suggests it was an agile climber and glider, perhaps living in the trees and gliding down to catch insects, small mammals, or lizards. Other small dromaeosaurids, like Bambiraptor from North America, were similarly small and lightly built. These tiny raptors show us that the family was not just about brute force. They were also masters of stealth and agility, occupying roles in the ecosystem that larger predators could not, hunting the small prey that scurried through the prehistoric undergrowth. In the middle of the size range, we find the most famous dromaeosaurids. Velociraptor mongoliensis, the true animal behind the movie star name, was actually much smaller than its on-screen counterpart. It stood about half a meter tall at the hip and was around 2 meters long, much of which was its tail. It was a lean and wiry predator, about the size of a large turkey, perfectly suited for hunting small to medium-sized prey in the desert environments of Cretaceous Mongolia. A more formidable mid-sized raptor was Deinonychus. Its name means terrible claw, and it was Deinonychus that first sparked the dinosaur renaissance in the 1960s, revealing to scientists that dinosaurs could be active, intelligent, and bird-like. It was about the size of a wolf, strong and powerfully built. At the very top of the scale, we find the true giants of the raptor world. The largest known dromaeosaurid is Utah raptor, discovered in the state of Utah in the United States. This was a truly terrifying predator. It could reach lengths of up to 7 meters or over 20 feet, and may have weighed close to 500 kilograms or half a ton. It was as large and heavy as a polar bear. Its sickle claw was immense, measuring over 22 centimeters or 9 inches long. Utah raptor was the apex predator of its environment, capable of taking down very large prey. Another giant, Dakota raptor, from the end of the Cretaceous, was also a formidable hunter, showing that huge raptors existed right up until the final days of the dinosaurs. This incredible diversity in size highlights the evolutionary success of the dromaeosaurids. As carnivores, dromaeosaurids had a diet consisting entirely of meat. Their sharp serrated teeth were not designed for crushing bone, but for slicing flesh, suggesting they fed on the softer parts of their prey. Fossil evidence gives us direct clues about what they ate. For instance, the stomach contents of one Microraptor specimen contained the remains of a small bird, while another had eaten a fish, and a third had consumed a lizard. This shows that smaller raptors had a varied diet, hunting whatever small animals they could catch. Larger raptors like Deinonychus and Velociraptor would have targeted larger game, such as small to medium-sized herbivorous dinosaurs. The most famous fossil evidence of a raptor's diet is the incredible fighting dinosaur specimen. This fossil, discovered in Mongolia, preserves a velociraptor locked in combat with a protoceratops, a sheep-sized horned dinosaur. The velociraptor has its deadly sickle claw embedded in the neck of the protoceratops, while the herbivore has clamped its powerful jaws onto the raptor's arm. They were buried together by a collapsing sand dune in the middle of their life-and-death struggle. This fossil provides undeniable proof that Velociraptor hunted prey as large or even larger than itself. It's a stunning snapshot of predator-prey interaction from 80 million years ago. For many years, it was thought that raptors hunted in coordinated packs to bring down large prey, an idea made famous by movies. While it is possible some species may have hunted in social groups, direct fossil evidence for this behavior is very limited. A more recent and well-supported theory about their hunting technique is called the Raptor Prey Restraint Model, or RPR. This model was developed by observing modern birds of prey, such as hawks and eagles, which are the raptor's closest living relatives. These birds do not use their talons to slash, but to pin their prey to the ground. They use their body weight to hold the victim down and then begin to feed on it, often while it is still alive. This model suggests dromaeosaurids hunted in a similar way. They would ambush their prey, leaping onto its back and digging in with their formidable sickle claws. Once the claw was anchored, it would be very difficult for the prey to dislodge the predator. The raptor could then use its powerful arms and claws to hold on, flapping its feathered wings for stability, much like a modern hawk mantling over its kill. From this secure position, it could use its sharp teeth to bite and tear at its victim. This method would have been incredibly effective, allowing a lone raptor to tackle prey much larger than itself without needing the complex cooperation of a pack. It is, honestly, a terrifyingly efficient hunting strategy. The Dromaeosauridae family is not a single uniform group. It is a diverse lineage that paleontologists have organized into several distinct subfamilies or clades, each with its own unique characteristics. One of the earliest and most primitive groups is the Unalaginae. These raptors, found mostly in South America, were often slender and long-snouted. A famous member is Buitroraptor, a graceful bird-like dinosaur with a long, narrow snout filled with many small, unserrated teeth. This suggests it probably hunted small prey like lizards and mammals, rather than large dinosaurs. The Unenlargens show us the early, more delicate forms, from which the later, more powerful raptors may have evolved. Another fascinating subfamily is the Microraptoria. As their name suggests, this group includes the smallest members of the Dromaeosaurid family. The most famous member is, of course, Microraptor itself, with its 4 wings and iridescent black feathers, much like a modern grackle or crow. Another member of this group is Sinornithosaurus, also from China's rich fossil beds. These small tree-dwelling raptors provide some of the strongest evidence for the close evolutionary link between dinosaurs and birds. Their feathered wings and gliding abilities represent a key step on the path to powered flight, blurring the line between what we consider a dinosaur and what we consider a bird. Perhaps the most iconic subfamily is the Dromaeosaurinae. This group includes some of the most robust and powerfully built raptors. The giant Utah raptor belongs here, as does the slightly smaller but still formidable Achillobata from Mongolia. These were the heavyweights of the raptor world, with shorter, deeper skulls and incredibly strong bodies. They were built for power, likely specializing in hunting very large and dangerous prey. They represent the peak of dromaeosaurid evolution in terms of sheer size and strength, the brutal hunters of the Cretaceous landscape. Their powerful build sets them apart from their more graceful and agile cousins in other subfamilies. Finally, there is the Velociraptorinae, a group of generally smaller to medium-sized, highly intelligent hunters. This subfamily includes the famous Velociraptor mongoliensis and its larger North American relative, Deinonychus. These raptors had longer, narrower snouts than the Dromaeosaurinae, and were more lightly built, suggesting they were adapted for speed and agility. Deinonychus, in particular, had a very large sickle claw and played a huge role in changing our perception of dinosaurs. The Velociraptorines were likely clever and adaptable hunters, the classic raptors that balanced speed, intelligence, and weaponry to become some of the most successful predators of their time. This diversity across subfamilies shows just how adaptable the dromaeosaurid body plan truly was. The connection between dromaeosaurids and birds is one of the most exciting stories in modern science. For decades, the idea that birds evolved from dinosaurs was just a theory, but the discovery of feathered dromaeosaurids turned it into an undeniable fact. Fossils from China, preserved in incredible detail, show that many raptor species, including Sinornithosaurus and Microraptor, were covered in a full coat of complex feathers. These were not just simple downy fuzz. They had feathers with a central shaft and branching barbs, just like the feathers of modern birds. Some even had long, elaborate tail feathers, possibly used for display to attract mates or intimidate rivals. These feathers provide powerful evidence for the dinosaur-bird link, but the similarities go much deeper. The skeletons of dromaeosaurids and early birds are remarkably alike. They share many features, including hollow bones, which made their skeletons strong but lightweight. They also had a furcula, or wishbone, which in modern birds is essential for the mechanics of flight. Dromaeosaurids had long arms that could be folded against the body in a bird-like manner, and their wrists were incredibly flexible, allowing for a motion very similar to the flight stroke of a bird. These shared traits are no coincidence. They are a clear sign of a close, shared ancestry. This raises a fascinating question. Could some dromaeosaurids fly? For the larger members of the family, like Deinonychus or Utahraptor, powered flight would have been impossible. They were far too large and heavy. However, for the smaller, lighter members, the possibility is very real. Microraptor, with its 4 feathered wings, was almost certainly a capable glider. It could have launched itself from a tree branch and glided through the forest canopy, using its wings to control its descent and direction. Some scientists believe it may even have been capable of some form of powered, flapping flight, though this is still a topic of active debate and research. Even if they couldn't achieve true flight, the feathered wings of dromaeosaurids could have served many other purposes. They could have been used for wing-assisted incline running, a behavior seen in some modern birds where they flap their wings to help them run up steep surfaces like tree trunks. The wings could also have provided extra stability and control when leaping onto prey, as proposed by the raptor prey restraint model. Whether for gliding, climbing, balance, or display, the feathers and wings of dromaeosaurids show us that many of the traits we associate with birds first evolved in their dinosaur ancestors, for reasons that had nothing to do with flying through the air. For over 100 million years, the dromaeosaurids had flourished. They had spread across the globe, diversified into a myriad of shapes and sizes, and perfected their role as intelligent, agile predators. They were a true evolutionary success story, a dynasty of hunters that had weathered countless environmental changes. But their long reign, along with the reign of all other non-avian dinosaurs, was about to come to a sudden and catastrophic end. The stage was the end of the Cretaceous period, approximately 66 million years ago. The world was about to change in a way that no creature could have prepared for, a change that would redraw the map of life on Earth forever. The cause of this devastation was an asteroid, estimated to be about 10 kilometers or 6 miles wide. It struck the Earth with unimaginable force in the area of what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The impact created a crater over 180 kilometers across and unleashed energy equivalent to billions of atomic bombs. The immediate effects were apocalyptic. A massive fireball would have incinerated everything for thousands of miles, while colossal earthquakes and tsunamis ravaged coastlines around the world. The sky would have darkened as pulverized rock and soot were thrown into the atmosphere, blocking out the sun for months, or perhaps even years. For the dromaeosaurids, and indeed for most life on Earth, this was an extinction-level event. The prolonged darkness caused global temperatures to plummet, creating a freezing impact winter. Photosynthesis stopped, leading to a catastrophic collapse of plant life. This meant that the herbivorous dinosaurs, the primary food source for large predators like Velociraptor and Deinonychus, quickly starved to death. With their food gone and the world plunged into a cold, dark nightmare, the dromaeosaurids had no chance of survival. Their specialized active lifestyle, which had been their greatest strength, now became their greatest weakness in a world where energy was suddenly scarce. It was a swift and brutal end to a magnificent lineage. Every last one of the non-avian dromaeosaurids, from the giant Utahraptor to the smallest Microraptor, perished in this global catastrophe. The world they had known, a world dominated by dinosaurs for 150 million years, was gone forever. However, their story does not entirely end there. One small branch of their Maniraptoran relatives, the group we call birds, did manage to survive. These small feathered dinosaurs were perhaps better equipped to endure the harsh conditions, possibly by feeding on seeds or insects. In a way, the legacy of the raptors lives on today in every bird we see, a living reminder of their incredible evolutionary journey. The story of the dromaeosaurids has had a profound impact, not just on science, but on our entire culture. For much of the 20th century, dinosaurs were seen as slow, dim-witted, and destined for extinction. This all changed in the late 1960s with the work of paleontologist John Ostrom on Deinonychus. Ostrom's careful study revealed an animal that was fast, agile, and likely warm-blooded. He argued that its anatomy was far more similar to that of a bird than a lizard. This groundbreaking idea sparked the dinosaur renaissance, a revolution in thinking that transformed dinosaurs into the dynamic, exciting animals we know today. The raptors were the catalyst for this change. This new scientific image of raptors eventually burst into popular culture, most famously with the 1993 film Jurassic Park. Although the film took some creative liberties, its velociraptors were based on the larger Deinonychus and were depicted without feathers, it single-handedly made raptors a household name. The film's portrayal of them as highly intelligent, cooperative pack hunters captured the public imagination like never before. Suddenly, everyone knew what a raptor was. This massive cultural exposure generated a huge wave of public interest in dinosaurs and paleontology, inspiring a new generation of scientists and ensuring that dromaeosaurids would forever be icons of the prehistoric world. Scientifically, the importance of dromaeosaurids cannot be overstated. They are the key to understanding one of the most significant evolutionary transitions in the history of life, the origin of birds. Because they are so closely related to birds but are not birds themselves, they provide a perfect outgroup for comparison. By studying their anatomy, from their hollow bones to their feathered wings, scientists can trace the step-by-step evolution of flight and other avian characteristics. Every new dromaeosaurid fossil adds another piece to this incredible puzzle, helping us to answer fundamental questions about how evolution works and how major new groups of animals arise. Today, research on dromaeosaurids is more active than ever. Scientists continue to debate the finer points of their biology. How complex were their feathers, and what colors were they? Did any species hunt in packs? Or was the raptor-prey restraint model the universal strategy? To what extent could the smaller, winged species actually fly? These ongoing questions drive paleontologists back into the field and the laboratory, using new technologies to analyze fossils in greater detail than ever before. The dromaeosaurids are no longer just monsters from a lost world. They are a vibrant and essential field of scientific inquiry, a window into the evolution of some of Earth's most amazing creatures. They remain truly the real raptors unveiled.